All right, we have 10 minutes, let's do this. Government has directed the Controller and Accountant General's Department to open a special account in which monies paid to alleged ghost names will be refunded to, or will be paid into. And the Minister of Finance, Tekpe, announced this at a public hearing at the Public Accounts Committee, I believe on Monday.
Yesterday. Right.
Okay, where he explained how this would prevent waste in the system. And well, the banks have been told to directly open the accounts for them, and so these accounts will be specifically made for that. How is that a feasible thing, I have to ask you, sir?
Well, it's feasible. I mean, I have experienced it where I am. I mean, we had a lot of people who have claimed to be beneficiaries on our payrolls, and at the end of every financial year, or even I instituted a measure every quarter we check, you know, we realized that a lot of these beneficial allowances were unclaimed and were lodged in banks. So we had to set out a mechanism to claim all these things. If this is the same thing that is happening, it means it's easier to set up an account where all these monies will be lodged in. You know, the issue is about detecting the ghosts. If you're able to detect the ghosts, then you can claim the money. You see, we need to move. You know, the fact that the controller is in charge of all public payroll, I see it very cumbersome. We talk of decentralization, and we are not decentralizing payroll of government, which for me is very problematic. Look, take a teacher in Kodiabe who is retired, left the service. If the supervisor there doesn't report to controller that the teacher is,
well, let's say the supervisor passes on,
or if there is no report to the controller, the person has left the service
from that very office,
his salary will keep going. You understand? If we decentralize it and they pay from that area, if the person retires, everybody will know the man has gone on retirement. It is the supervisory role of controller at that point that will make the system more efficient. But some of these basic things like detecting people who have left service, retirement, who have absconded, dismissed, can be done at the local level. Once that is done, it is easier to recover some of these things. But the lag in terms of reporting that this person has left, this person has gone on retirement, creates the existence of these ghost names, because people remain on payroll long after retirement because nobody has sent a report and pay goes. So let's institute a mechanism at the district level. We start from a region to the district. It's easier to report within the region than to jump over the region and come to national. If we start at that level, we'll be able to eliminate some of these things faster than what we are doing presently. And if that is done, you realize that all these goals at the district, you'll be able to take them out easier than creating all these bulk accounts for these things to go back in.
Well, Mr. Champon is making it look so easy, but is decentralization the way to go?
Yes, it's a public service. We take things for granted. It should be easy. Even if for any reason the person has caught their bed doesn't turn up for 1 whole month, and probably you think he's sick, 2 months, 3 months, he still doesn't turn up, but he's still being paid.
He's being paid.
It means that the supervision even at the district level is problematic. Because for the district head, the person should be able to know who has reported for work.
And who has not?
Who has not. There should be a reporting system. And if it's so manual, and we don't have any way of making it a bit more mechanical, then we end up with all these problems. And it's compounded. Even those who are alive, you cannot report that they have not reported for duty for any reason. How much more those who are dead? That's how come somebody may be dead 1 year, you're still paying him. And if they have a way of taking the money from the bank accounts, people go and take it. Either those he left behind, or even the controllers officers who have access to those things. And so we should be careful whether some people are not even benefiting from the system. Whether there's not a scheme where 6 months money is dumped into somebody's account. Then it's
like, for example, there's what we saw at the service scheme.
Yes.
There was some collusion, even with the financial institutions themselves and some key officials.
You've heard the MP Richie complaining that I reported to controller, I reported to all the institutions that my father was no more, but they were still paying him. When he left his bank account was 10,000. But as you speak, it's jumped to 28,000 because they're still putting money in the bank.
Not bad at all.
And then he was confronted. He said, "I've informed controller they are here. I've informed finance minister. I've informed all the institutions, but it's still going on." So this is somebody who has even come forward to And if you're not doing it, how much for those who haven't come forward? And we're losing millions because of such a system. Elsewhere, how do they do it? How come we cannot copy? Are we
it's a unit system.
Yes.
Okay.
Unit
So
system.
now we're supposed to decentralize. I remember some few months ago, I think we had difficulties with overpayment made to teachers and some educational staff. And the answers we got from the Controller and Accountant General was that they only pay based on the data that was supplied to them. Okay, so it's also because we're working from a centralized point.
Yeah.
How is the decentralized point going to work?
It's a unit system.
So the money is sent where? And then who pays?
For instance, let's use
So the Accountant General's Department in District A
District A.
will be given the money.
Exactly.
But then they will be in control of which names, etc.
Exactly.
So
Those
now you
people
put their money into their bank
don't
accounts.
do their bank accounts.
How do we make sure the districts, the decentralized at the decentralized point, the heads of those decentralized units also, even not adequately supervise, also
That's
end
what
up.
I'm saying. That's the point I raised. It's
That's
about
people's
supervision.
jobs.
That is somebody's job. Your field officers who must go around and check that these things are being done instead of sitting in Accra. You must go around and check. I've sent a bulk amount to District A. It's supposed to be paid for staff. This month, you should be able to go and check that. Look, everybody reported for it. Nobody died. Nobody has retired. And these things, once it's done in a unit basis, you can do it. Instead of sitting in Accra and waiting for all these reports to come
Well, you'll
in.
be surprised that in your district, even the state director of education will tell you she doesn't have a vehicle
You
to
know,
go and visit Kotiabe to see whether
what is going on.
teachers are reporting.
But it's money, so you have to zone in.
Because sometimes you have to do
Manual thing.
manual counting.
Yeah.
You have to go and do a manual
You have to employ
audit.
all the
Go and see
tricks.
whether this teacher is in or this health staff is there.
Yes.
Exactly. You have to.
So we have a lot. It's as if, so we know the problem, but
How to address the problem? We keep giving excuses and not prioritizing.
right.
Not prioritizing, because if you are district director of education and you also to supervise, then I have to make sure that at least the vehicle you use in going through that particular district, some of them remote.
If we were doing that, we would have saved the country a lot. Is that the understanding?
Of course,
Good.
of course, because the issue is that even if we were to dump the monies in the accounts and we can retrieve them, maybe we'll say that we just kept the money there, maybe it lost some value, etc. But when we dump them, then we are not even able to retrieve them. So if somebody is taking advantage of it, and we are paying ghosts, so-called ghosts, or sometimes you create ghosts.
Well, I know a pensioner, I think a senior army officer, I think in the rank of a general, who was overpaid over 100,000 of his is a gratuity, the lump sum they take. They take monthly because you retire on whatever you were earning in the service, and over 100,000, close to 200,000. He sent it to. Is this a controller?
Yeah.
They said.
Oh,
We were lucky, 100,000 outside. So eventually he had to go to the Bank of Ghana and go and lodge the check.
Yeah, but that is the attitude.
Well, that should be the attitude. But the point is
But
the
people
system
should-
should, the
people
system
should also know
the
the
system should,
consequences.
that is if you are caught.
Yes, people should know the consequences.
That you can't spend money that's not yours.
That's not yours. You'll be scandalized. You'll be prosecuted. Everything will happen to you.
So if
People
I
know
see the
the
money in my account,
Oh, I remember.
I didn't know that.
No, I remember a teacher who saw
I didn't
a
know.
huge amount in his account. He spent it. And
So
then when they found out, for about 12 months, he was not receiving any salary.
Oh, are you talking
Because
about the
every month
times
they were
when they
taking
were
the money-
paying those huge monies?
Yes,
was
every
it-
time they were taking the money out of his salary and he was not earning anything. He was even lucky he would have been prosecuted. Because he took money that didn't belong to him. It happens everywhere. I remember very well I remember when we left office. When we left office, the government, Office of Chief of Staff, brought us checks, and they were paying people who were staying in their own houses on their premises, who were not in government bungalows. I was staying in a government facility. I was given a check.
But you didn't
So
check.
I wrote back to them and said that please, I'm not entitled to it.
But it's also
Pay back.
because you were doing it for the future. You didn't want any problem.
No, but you should know the consequences. If I had spent it, and later it comes out that you are not entitled to this money, but you've spent it.
It's very tempting.
Why is that tempting when you know the consequences?
Very tempting. Okay.
People should be educated on some of these things.
Yeah, true. Okay, thank you very much. We've had in the studio Kobe Champong, former Deputy Minister of the Interior, currently the Chief Executive, Youth Employment Agency. And thanks for joining me, Kobe. All right, and also a former Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports, but also
It's education, I suppose.
Oh,
I never
okay.
handled youth.
all right, Education and Sports. government and the way they change the names of the ministries, departments.
Eventually, even other science to it.
You see, huh?
Education,
All right.
science, and sports.
Obiam Wasebunsuamwa is a member of Parliament for Ikap himself, and thanks for joining me too. I hope to see you, the two of you, next week. You make a good pair.
Last week I wasn't here, but somebody came.
The discussion
I saw
was
you
calm.
enjoyed it.
I was enjoying it. I was not. I was not. All right, so now we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up for you.